Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we're here with part 3 of our F122 MyTeam career mode here for our home race at the Australian Grand Prix. And first up we've got a Pirelli Hot Lap, the first time we'll be doing one of these in our MyTeam career. I'm not sure if I'm going to do all of them, but I'll definitely do some of them over the course of the season. It'll give us a nice bit of a boost for cash and acclaim if we can do them properly. But you can see here we are in the Mercedes around a very wet Albert Park circuit, and this is the average speed challenge where, as the name of the challenge suggests, we've got to try and keep our average speed up over a certain section of the track. You can see sliding through the chicane there to try and keep ourselves from having to slow down too much. You can see there's a nice little off-board shot of the Mercedes. We head to the newly profiled turn 13 here, getting on the brakes nice and early in these cars. These are very different to drive to the F1 cars. You're going to be on the brakes super early and try and throw them into the corners. And you can see we do get the average speed there done in our first attempt as well. So that's really nice there. It gives you 3 attempts to do it, and you do have to do all 3 attempts to completely pass. So even though we got it completely wrapped up in the first one, we've done all 3, and as you can see here, here's the third one. We get the challenge done in all 3 of those. So yeah, you only need to get it done in 1, but we got it done in 3, and that was a nice little challenge there to get gold in, especially at our home race there. Get our eye in a little bit, I guess, with the newly profiled turn 13, and there we go. We get a nice $100,000 cash boost as well as 1,000 acclaim for the team, which will help us get a bit closer to another sponsorship deal, which in the end could get us a bit more cash, you know, earlier. So yeah, I guess in the end it is a good thing. They don't take a whole lot of time to do, but you can see here the standings. We're 9th in the drivers at the moment and 7th in the constructors, so not bad for only our first 2 rounds in Formula 1 as a team. But yeah, here in our home race, I guess we're going to try and push forward, and it would be really nice to try and score some points here in front of the home crowd. You can see it is going to be a very wet race, just on this little broadcast we've got playing in the background here. And yeah, our qualifying didn't do too great for us, unfortunately, so we're going to have to work our way through the field if we want to do it. But first time wet conditions here on F122 and in this new team. So yeah, let's have a look at the qualifying rundown to see how everyone lines up for the Australian Grand Prix.
So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, George Russell and Hamilton, Magnussen, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher and Valtteri Bottas, Norris, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Albon, Ricciardo, Guan Yu Zhou and Sebastian Vettel, Latifi, Stroll, Benjamin and Richard Verschoor. And now it's time to head down to the track.
I know this is your home Grand Prix, but treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks.
So here we are lining up on the grid for the Australian Grand Prix, a very wet Australian Grand Prix, as I said before we got into the qualifying rundown. And yeah, unfortunately, we qualified right down in 21st, and Verschoor is behind us in 22nd, so right on the back row for this race, which isn't ideal. It is obviously going to be intermediates to intermediates in the pit strategy. In terms of car performance, McLaren have overtaken us coming into this one, which is a bit unfortunate. Unfortunately, I guess that's how it works at the start of the career. Yeah, we just don't have a lot of facilities and all that, and so resource point generation is very low. And yeah, I guess that's what we're working towards, just building up this team as it starts, and yeah, just trying to creep our way forwards until we can afford to really start moving towards the end of the season and in future seasons. But here we go, all lined up, tyres warm, 5 red lights, and we are underway for the Australian Grand Prix. It's a really nice launch and actually a really good getaway altogether as we fly past Stroll, Latifi, Vettel. We get a couple alongside Zhou there as we head down towards turn 1, not quite able to go for a move on Ricciardo. I decided to back out of it there just to make sure we don't get any damage. And you can see then Vettel and Zhou are able to sweep around the outside, unfortunately, but they get a real slow run out of turn 2. And so we're going to be right up on the back of Vettel, sort of boxed in between these guys here. We're going to go for a dive to the inside at the newly profiled turn 3 here. Again, backing out on a move on Ricciardo, just again to make sure we don't get any damage, because yeah, it's the start of a long race here. And it's going to be a very long race considering it's wet. And so yeah, we can't afford to be making any silly overtakes or anything that could end up really ruining it for us. But you can see a lot of battles happening up ahead here. The Mercedes going at it. Gasly just got ahead of Bottas, and all of this is causing a lot of cars to go very slow. And so, yeah, a couple more opportunities opening up to maybe try and make a move. You can see behind us, Zhou and Vettel still having a go at it with each other. So, yeah, very frantic at the start of this race. I guess being wet, as well as the new layout sort of facilitating this sort of stuff, makes it, yeah, a bit more crazy at the start of these races, which is nice to see. We are right on the back of Ricciardo, though. So not a great race so far for the two Aussies here at our home Grand Prix down in 16th and 17th. Hopefully we can change that as we head into turn 13. Big dive on Ricciardo there now that he has a bit of space around him. There's some carbon fiber flying around up ahead. I believe that's off Alex Albon in the Williams there. He's trying to make a move on Tsunoda. Tsunoda gets ahead of him there. And yeah, it does look like it's a Williams. He's going a bit slow through here. And so I'd imagine we'd see him come into the pit lane at the end of the lap here and score ourselves a free position. There he goes into the pit lane entry. The new pit lane entry a bit tighter. We'll see when we make a pit stop a bit later on. And that is us now into P15. So yeah, I guess not a bad start to go from 15th to 21st in the first lap, but we now look ahead. Some more battling happening now towards turn 3. Bottas versus Tsunoda. This is here. Tsunoda in the other AlphaTauri trying to get ahead of the Alfa Romeo. So Bottas slowly moving back by the looks of it. Maybe he has some slight front wing damage that he didn't have to pay for. I'm not too sure as we head through into turn 5. Now they go side by side. They keep going side by side, but that slowed everyone right down. So we're going to try and go for a move on Esteban Ocon here into the new profiled corner through here. I don't remember the corner number, but there we go. We're not quite able to get the move done on the Alpine there. He got it around the outside, but up ahead those guys still going at it. We almost lose the car through there, and so that gets Sebastian Vettel right on the back of us here, but luckily he's not able to get through a move here as we go left to right, sort of swinging through this new very fast section there. And we weren't able to get a move done on Ocon. I had a look, but these guys up ahead still battling away here. So very equal between the AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo. By the looks of it, Tsunoda gets a poor exit though. Ocon gets ahead of him, and so now it's Ocon versus Bottas down towards turn 3. I'm boxed in though because Tsunoda's still next to us, and now Tsunoda dives it on the inside. So it's going to be 3 wide through here. Somehow no damage for anyone there. I was really expecting to see some sort of front wing go flying across our screen there, but Bottas in the end does keep it ahead there in P12 ahead of Ocon, and it's ourselves in 14, so we did get Tsunoda in the end, and that is another spot made up. And so as we now head to the end of lap 2 here around the final corner, not a bad start. I guess we can take just a second to breathe here after those crazy 2 laps there and have a look at the running order. So we got Verstappen leading the way still. He's held his lead from the start. Sainz in second though, so he's gotten ahead of Leclerc there at the start of the race. I'm sure Leclerc won't be happy with that in his championship fight. Perez currently sits 4th. The Haas of Magnussen doing very well to be up in P5 at the moment, ahead of George Russell in the lead of Mercedes there in P6. Schumacher though in 7th in the other Haas doing very well. So double points here for Haas, who have had a bit of a struggle at the start of the season. They've certainly looked like they've had this sort of pace, but they haven't quite been able to pull it off. And then you got Hamilton just behind him in P8. So Schumacher, hopefully he doesn't buckle under the pressure of being in front of the 7-time champion there. You got Alonso in 9th, and Norris rounds out the top 10 there in the McLaren. And then you've got all of these guys trying to chase him down, including ourselves. Although I don't think we quite have the pace for that. We have lost a bit of time to Ocon now, and Tsunoda is right behind us. So is this whole train. I don't think we're quite slowing them down, but we do have just enough pace to sort of be just ahead of them. If we do make even a slight mistake, just like we do there, then we're in trouble, as Tsunoda now right on the back of us as we head down towards turn 1, heading on to lap 7. He's going to be on the inside for turn 1. Can we hold it around the outside though, is the question. We don't really have the grip for it. We're going to go side by side, but being on the tighter inside line, we have to go a bit slower, and Tsunoda's quite easily, by the looks of it, able to go around the outside. But now with slipstream and some ERS, we're going to try and go to the outside of turn 3 and get the move back for P14 here, riding up the rears there in second gear. And then we do not quite actually get the move done now as we head through the fast right hand and almost making contact there with the AlphaTauri. Have we got the move done yet? Not quite. He's still going to try and throw his nose down the inside there. Very late move there for Tsunoda. We were pretty much all the way ahead, but he just threw the car down there. But we do finally get ahead there through the right-hander, but he is right behind us with slipstream. So is he going to be able to get the move done to get back into P14? It doesn't look like it. Looks like we've got him covered off for now, but he might have the better run out of this chicane here, so we're going to have to just go through here nice and carefully, make sure we get a nice exit there, and that's probably the best we probably could have gotten there. And so it looks like we are going to keep ahead of the AlphaTauri as we head into turn 13 there, and we do keep it ahead there of Tsunoda. So yeah, you can see, actually, we made a big mistake, and Tsunoda's through, so after all of that, we've just made a simple little mistake there, and I made another one there, as I was sort of pretty upset with myself, to be honest, after holding him off for that whole lap there, and then just making a silly little mistake that just led him straight through. And look at him, he's already gone, because I just don't have the pace to be with these guys. I've just got enough pace to stop them from going for a move there into any of the corners. But as we look ahead now onto lap 12, Bottas going for a move on Pierre Gasly into turn 1 here, just ahead of Ocon. So these guys are the guys ahead of us. They're 9 seconds ahead of us there, as Bottas does get the move there in the Alfa Romeo. So these guys are squabbling quite a bit, to be honest. So yeah, good to see some good racing from the AI here. In previous games, I felt that they sort of just don't race each other. If they do race, it's only really if you're around them and they're trying to defend from you, or if they're trying to attack you or something. But look at this again now, we got Gasly versus Ocon there. So these guys really actually racing with each other as they head into the chicane, and Ocon does get ahead of the AlphaTauri. Gasly going a little bit slow at the moment by the looks of it, so maybe he just burnt his tyres up a little bit too much at the start of the Grand Prix. And yeah, that's him now down into P13 from P11 in just a couple laps there. As we now look at Zhou Guanyu just behind us, you can see he's just in this train here behind Verschoor as we head through towards the end of Sector 1, and it looks like it's some sort of engine failure there, or maybe an electrical issue there for the Alfa Romeo. So that's a shame there for the rookie there, and yeah, he's going to retire from our home race here. So yeah, big shame there for Zhou, and that might even cause a safety car with where he's parked as we head into the chicane there, under attack from Sebastian Vettel still. He's not quite able to get us, but it wasn't a safety car in the end there. And now lap 14, it is time for some pit stops. So we got Verstappen into the pit stop, we got Leclerc coming in there, and Sainz and Perez continuing on. It'll be interesting to see if the undercut or the overcut is better around here. So this is going to be really good to tell. You can see obviously everyone going on to another set of intermediates. We've got Magnussen in, Russell's going to continue on. You'd assume Schumacher's also going to continue on. Hamilton comes into the pit lane. So some alternating strategies happening here from the team. So Hamilton will be coming in to try and jump Schumacher. Russell will be trying to overcut Magnussen. And same with the Ferraris and the Red Bulls, all going on their alternate strategies. So yeah, it will be really interesting to see. You can see we've got Gasly here going in. Sonoda is going to continue on, and that we will be coming in this lap. So too should Sebastian Vettel, I believe. No, he's actually going to continue on. Same with Verschoor, obviously, with this, we don't want a double stack, and it looks like it'll be Lance Stroll coming into the pit lane alongside us there into this new tighter pit lane. So unfortunately, we won't be able to do any of our cool dive bombs to the sort of the pit limit line there, like we did on the last iteration of the game. You can see we do an optimal turn-in point there onto some intermediates, a 2.5 second pit stop, so very nice there, and we don't get jumped by anyone. In fact, it actually looks like we open the gap to Stroll a little bit, as we now have to get our heads down and make sure we stay ahead of the likes of Vettel and Verschoor here on these colder tyres. So I reckon possibly the overcut could be good, but yeah, we'll have to have a look. I just think maybe staying that extra lap on the warmer tyres could be beneficial. We'll have to see where Sainz comes out. Will he jump Verstappen? Will Leclerc jump Sainz? It is, yeah, it looks like a decent pit stop there for Ferrari, and same too with Perez in the background. So yeah, this could be close for these guys. I wonder where it could be. As I said, I think it's going to be real close here. You can see there goes Verstappen though. Verstappen is ahead. There he goes, and Leclerc, oh, it's actually going to be close between the two Ferraris there. It looks like the undercut's quicker as Leclerc just gets around the outside of his teammate there, so maybe a bit of a team strategy there from Ferrari to get Leclerc back ahead of his teammate. So maybe, yeah, it certainly looks like that might have been the case there, because I don't know why they wouldn't have brought Sainz in to try and keep up with Verstappen. Instead, they brought Leclerc in. As you can see, here comes Verschoor. So maybe Sainz wasn't listening to team orders to swap with Leclerc, and so the team took it into their own hands there with the pit stop. So interesting to see. I'm sure Sainz won't be happy with dropping down to third though. But will it be a nice pit stop for Verschoor here as he pulls into the pit box? Hopefully he can have a good one and try and jump Sebastian Vettel. It doesn't look like he's quite able to, unfortunately, there. And will we be able to come out ahead of him, though, is the question. You can see there is Vettel. There's Verschoor. We get ahead of our teammate, and we just about get ahead of Vettel. He's going to try and come to the inside of turn one there, but we sweep around with the warmer tyres and a bit of overspeed. And that is us into P17. So we have been able to hold position there. Not that it really means anything considering how far back we are So, yeah, it's a bit of a shame, but we'll have a little look at the order here again now that the pit stops are done. We've got Verstappen still leading the way, so he's looking on track to win his first race of the season here in Australia. We've got Leclerc in second now after that little bit of team strategy to get him back ahead of his teammate Carlos Sainz, who now sits in third place. I'm sure he won't be too happy with that, and we'll want to talk with the team after the race. We've got Perez sitting in P4. He doesn't really have any pace compared to those front three. He's just dropping further and further back now, 4 seconds off of Carlos Sainz there in fourth. George Russell now in fifth. He has jumped Magnussen, so the overcut working there for the Mercedes by the looks of it, as Magnussen now drops down to sixth. Schumacher still sits in P7 in the Haas ahead of Hamilton, so yeah, whatever strategy Mercedes tried to play there didn't quite work out for them, and so Schumacher doing very well at the moment to hold off Hamilton for this entire race so far in P7. Alonso still sits in P9 there in the Alpine, and Norris still rounds out the top 10, so not a whole lot changing there in the top 10. You can see Bottas still sits 11th, Ocon 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Gasly 14th, and then here's ourselves in 15th now that a couple other people have made their final pit stops, and so that is everyone in their correct order. So yeah, unfortunately not a great race for us here in Australia, not what we were kind of hoping for. We got Vershaw in 17th, and Ricciardo has actually, I'm not too sure what happened to him, but he's now right down in 19th, so real poor race here for the Aussies at our home Grand Prix. I'm sure that's a bit deflating for the crowd, but, you know, well, heave-ho, hopefully in some future seasons we can get ourselves a bit further up, as we have a nice slide there as we head towards the end of the first sector. But now on lap 21, Yuki Tsunoda in the AlphaTauri is going to retire from the Grand Prix here, so the Honda power unit once again, not actually Honda, it's not Honda anymore, Red Bull Powertrains unit having a failure there. Obviously we're using the same power unit as the AlphaTauris here, so a bit worrying again here to see that it doesn't seem to have some great reliability. A lot of retirements over the last 3 rounds, as you can see. It does cause a virtual safety car. Unfortunately not a full safety car, only a virtual one, as we now cut to lap 22 when it restarts. And we had some cold tyres by the looks of it. You can see I had to go nice and slow through there, and we're going to have a massive, actually, I was going to say a little, but it was actually a massive flick there through the right-hander, but Vettel just too far back for him to be able to do anything with that. And you can see we're now going to cut all the way to lap 29, because unfortunately nothing really much happening. So it is going to be Verstappen to fight round the final corner here on the final lap of the Grand Prix to win the Australian Grand Prix, just ahead of Charles Leclerc, who was right on the back of him, unfortunately there for the Ferrari, not able to get anything done and continue his streak of winning. So it's now Max that finally gets a win here ahead of Leclerc. Sainz rounds out the podium. Perez is going to finish in P4 there, and you can see scrolling through the field, everyone pretty spread out, to be honest. You can see we were very close to being lapped, to be honest, if we hadn't had that virtual safety car, as we are only about halfway through the lap now, as we under attack from Sebastian Vettel on the final lap of the Grand Prix. We are just about far enough ahead, though, to keep it ahead through the chicane. Will he be able to go for a move here on the exit? We are actually quite a bit ahead, and so we do hold position there as we cut a bit further on the lap now. The penultimate corner, we are just ahead of the Aston Martin, so we're going to round the final corner to finish P14 in our home Grand Prix, so not too bad of a result if we're being honest here in our first season. Still only third race in Formula 1, so it's going to be P14 for us, and actually P16 for Vershaw isn't bad either, so hopefully we can do better next time out in Imola though.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
Well, they have a car that comes alive in the conditions that we were dealing with today. It's a very balanced package in the wet, and what that means is the drivers have confidence to attack. Having that confidence gets you on the power earlier, gets you on the brakes later, and can put you a long way up the road.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everybody at the team.
And so it is Verstappen in the end that brings a close to Leclerc's dominance so far. He's won the first 2 races of the season by a pretty convincing margin, and he's now been brought down by Verstappen, who goes on to win here in Australia. Can Max keep it up and take the fight to Leclerc? We're just going to have to wait and see how the story unfolds as we head further into the season here. Leclerc will still obviously have a pretty big championship lead, but there it is. Race results: Verstappen winning by half a second over Leclerc and 2 seconds over Sainz, who rounds out the podium there. Perez 4th. Russell ended up in 5th there for Mercedes, and a very good result for Haas, getting 6th and 7th there for Magnussen and Schumacher. Hamilton right down in 8th, he won't be overly happy with that. Alonso finishes in 9th, getting some valuable points for Alpine, and same with Norris getting what could be a valuable point there for McLaren in 10th. He rounds out the top 10, ourselves down in P14. So, yeah, as I was saying, not sort of the result we were wanting. We were hoping to get at least a couple points here for our home Grand Prix, but at the same time, you can't really expect points at this early stage of the career mode. You can see Verschoor down in 16th. I'm pretty sure that's the best result he's gotten so far. He didn't have to make an extra pit stop for a front wing for, I believe, the first time there. And, yeah, so, yeah, not bad pace. He was only 2 seconds off us in the end there. So, for sure, as I've said, very close to us on pace, at least at the start of this career mode. You can see we now drop down to 11th in the driver's standings. Leclerc does lead the way by 22 points over Sainz still, so it is still a 1-2 in the driver's standings for Ferrari, and then a 3-4 for Red Bull with Verstappen in third there, only 27 points off of Leclerc, and it seems to be a bit of a fight between those three at the front there with just 27 points between them, and then Perez is quite a bit off, 45 points off of the lead of the championship. In terms of the constructors, we dropped from 7th to 8th now after that round. So that is, yeah, massively unfortunate there. But, yeah, as I was saying, we were always going to drop further and further down the field. And hopefully now we can keep points over at least Williams and Aston. Alfa Romeo definitely have a quicker car over us. They bought some good upgrades as well. And so I'd assume they're going to score more and more points as we get further in. We just got very lucky this time with Bottas just about not being able to get points and Zhou retiring. So for now, we are ahead of them as well. It'd be nice, obviously, we're going to try and keep ahead of those guys, but we're trying to be realistic as well here in this career mode. But that is the end of the race weekend, and now we head into some sort of admin stuff just to round out the episode. So having a look here at our activity timeline to begin with, we are going to do some power equipment upgrades there to get the morale boosted up in that facility. We're also going to do some durability team building to get morale up there as well, and we've got 4 days left to fill here, so we're going to do a sponsor event there that takes 2 days, and a driver promotion filming there for some acclaim as well. And so that stuff all sorted out, and we have now unlocked a secondary sponsor, so that'll bring a little bit more cash flow in, and this is where we hopefully start to get a bit of more money to upgrades and stuff. We are going to go with Auterp there, which is pretty simple goal to outqualify a rival. We don't have a rival yet, but we should be getting one within the next round or two, and that should hopefully be a bit more cash flow coming in from a gold bonus, as well as just a weekly bonus that you get with sponsors. Now we're going to add Auterp onto the car in just a couple places here. You can see we're going to add one on the nose cone, one on the top sort of engine cover there, and that is all actually. That was the only places I really felt were right for a secondary sponsor. We didn't want to overload it, but we wanted to make sure they got some decent spots as well, being a secondary sponsor. And then third, we'll get tertiary sponsor. That'll be a bit less visibility, and then the last sponsor will be even less. But yeah, just scrolling through the timeline now, unfortunately, we got a failed upgrade there on the chassis. So yeah, we're going to have to repurchase that, although we don't actually have enough to do that. So that's a massive shame. We should hopefully get some more resource points as we progress another couple days. But for now, we got a personnel department thing here, and it's either give Verschoor +7 pace or +7 awareness. And I don't think his awareness is honestly too bad at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and give him some pace. Anytime he has got damage, it's not really been his fault. It's sort of more just been a bit of a racing incident or another driver. And so I don't think his awareness is massively important at the moment. It's more getting his pace up so he can qualify a bit further up. And yeah, hopefully get closer to scoring some points for us as well. So that will be handy. You can see we move forward a couple days and we do get some more resource points. So we're going to go through to the chassis department, and we can now repurchase this weight reduction upgrade, which will have to come in after Imola, but it will 100% come in after Imola because an upgrade can only fail once. And now that it has failed once, we repurchase it, it will definitely come in, and that's really all there is to look at the moment. We don't even have $1 million in the bank, so not really much we can do in terms of upgrading facilities or anything. So yeah, we're just gonna have to sit through there. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this in the future, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.